Welcome to an episode of Rock Builds, where if you're new to the channel, hopefully you'll subscribe. Basically what this channel is kind of like a DIY and a video vlog of me building shit, random shit. You never know what the hell I'm doing on this channel here. But for some of you that are returning viewers and some of you that are subscribers, obviously this is another different one for the channel here. In fact, this is the build. So basically, and any of you know who actually watch my videos here, I tend to do one build at a time. Well, this one is not going to be the case. It'll take just way too long. This build series is actually, we're going to build this thing up. This is a project. It's an old school dune buggy sand car. Unlike your typical sand cars like these, you'll usually have a VW air-cooled engine from like an old school Beetle or a bus. This does have a VW engine, but it's a 2.0 APA from around the 90s out of either Volkswagen Jetta, Golf, or Rabbit. It's what they know as a tall block. It is a 4-cylinder, but obviously it's not air cooled. Takes a radiator. This thing just needs a lot of love. If you can see, I got some flat tires because some of the rims got little bends in it, so it's not going to hold air that great. Fixable. But the main thing is, does it actually work enough to do a build? Well, let's find out. Let's turn this thing on here. To cool the thing, it has 2 fans like some of your later model cars, but I can turn them on manually. Fan 1, fan 2. Got to power up the fuel pump. And then you got to give power to the starter solenoid. I believe that's what it's attached to. I'm not 100% confirmed. It's either from that or to the distributor itself. So you do that, and now we're good to fire it up. It does live and breathe, so yes. And of course it has lights. Got to have your running lights down there. Even this guy right here, which you can't see, but I have lights over here. And cool. Kill it. So it does run, but I'm sure it needs one hell of a tune-up and some other lovely bull. So let me just give you a tour on how this thing is in the before and by the last video, which will probably be in about 2 years. Nah, about a year and a half. Yeah, about 2 years. So let's go do a little hand walk tour with like other content creators with the shaky camera. So let me do some shaky camera action for you guys. So I guess this is the beginning of this project. I'm gonna start tearing some things down. I already kind of know what I want to go through on basically on its issues, where to start first. Basically need better access to the battery, so this seat needs to come out. And then I think the first thing I want to deal with is the brakes, because we know the engine runs, but I want to make sure it can stop, and then before we move on to the clutch. So just going to get rid of useless stuff right now. Like there's that old cooler, it's got to go. Just whatever junk. We'll get rid of this seat and anything else. But I think how we'll kind of start this build is into a time lapse, and I'll cut back in if there's anything really useful I need to discuss on what I find out. I'm sure there'll be some surprises. So let's get this project going. I don't have a name for this project, so heck, if you're watching this, maybe give me an idea. Let's go.
Rock, stupid, timeless. Let's go.
Like I said, I'd butt in until something was up. So I started on this side here so that I can get access to this middle section here, because this is where all the brake and clutch lines are underneath this piece. And of course over here I want to be able to get to this battery. Discovered on this thing is kind of old, you know, so there's going to be some rust and issues like that. Well, all the hardware that held this floor pan or this floor whatever was so rusted on there, it would either, and plus they were small, so they basically, all the heads of the nuts just snapped, and if they didn't snap, they weren't turning, so I literally had to go grind and cut them out. So that's what you saw there, is either a bunch of snap bolts, which I got down here on the ground, and cuts. Really, on the upside that it tells me to get, you know, new nuts and bolts for it, which I should have anyways, because it was also mix match too, different head sizes, different nut sizes. So that's something I'll do, which I should do and I will do. The seat itself is just plain fiberglass. The condition of the fiberglass itself is all right, but you can tell the previous owners through its history kind of used like that egg crate mattress top foam, which is very thin and it was kind of worn. So I'm actually going to replace it with something thicker, like maybe memory foam, either inch or 2-inch or whatever. But in the meantime, I'll just keep what I had before. I can use it as a pattern. That way it'll make that softer. And I'm just going to re-clean the vinyl covering on the seats here, because they look to be in pretty good shape. They're just kind of filthy. And they're vinyl, so they'll be easy to clean. So that's about as far as I got for today on this. It's getting dark. So next I'll end up continuing on, and we'll get to this midsection here and try to figure out to the brake and clutch things. Oh, and I also went through and because I was going on the brakes anyways, went to check if I could be able to open those reservoirs. The brake line I can, the hydraulic one, it is so seized on there, so I just put some PB Blaster on it, and I also went ahead and did it on the exhaust manifold, because I know I'm going to eventually be taking that off. Not yet, but I want to get at least all those nuts kind of lubed up in there, so when I do take them off, I'm not going to break the studs on them. God, I do not want to break the studs. So that's going to be, yeah, because if not, I'm going to have to figure something out. So daylight's ended for me, but we're gonna go ahead after that is try to get closer to the brake line system so we can actually figure out what to do with that. Next day, hopefully the weather will cooperate. Could possibly rain, hopefully it doesn't. Hey, fucking horse fly, get the fuck out of here, motherfucker. Get out of my fucking car. So now I'm going to concentrate on this side, remove the seat. I'm gonna probably keep no, I have to remove the floorboard. Remove the floorboard, and seriously still try to get to this middle console just so I can get to the brake lines here, so I can actually get to the brakes. So that way you can start testing out what the hell is wrong. It could be anywhere from an air into the line, the master cylinder itself, because the clutch part feels good, nice and stiff, but the brake part, oh, that's basically nothing. Same thing with the cutter brakes, nothing. So as soon as I get to it, start troubleshooting the brake lines, but got to get to all this other bullshit. So let's get to work again. More tear down and more time lapses.
Wow, stupid time lapse. Oh, that was two. You better not have a third. Here's three.
So I can't actually remove this yet until actually I deal with this, just the way this is actually attached to the plastic and you can't undo it just from the position of the bars underneath it. So the only way to get this off, I have to remove the lines, the brake lines. But if I'm going to remove the brake lines, it's where I needed to kind of already test the master cylinder. So we're actually going to test the master cylinder now, so that way I can actually get to removing the rest of this. So what we're going to do is, this is the line that goes to the master cylinder at the pedal. I had to actually soak it for a little bit in PB Blaster because it was on there good. There's a pretty good chance I'm going to just end up replacing all these lines because these connections are in bad shape. But I got it loose. So I'm gonna have to still work at it a little bit. Now, of course, the easiest way to test it, make sure the master cylinder is good, is you want to find like the nearest connection to the master cylinder. Well, there's actually one in the middle underneath it, but I figured just do this one just because it's more out in the open. Now, gotta have something to catch the fluid in. So just like a bottle, like so. Now, if it works, all you gotta do is pump the brake pedal and it should be squirting out fluid. And the reservoir is loaded with fluid, so let's go see what we got here. It's squirting, but it doesn't seem like it's squirting much. I have a feeling that the master cylinder may not be any good. Let me open it up. Okay, I think that's probably what the problem is, because with each pump it should be just squirting, not just a little spritz. It should be like a full-blown. So that pretty much explains that. So I'm thinking I may have to go research that on, I'm sure there's a rebuild kit or something, plunger system for that. Hopefully they won't have to buy a whole new freaking thing. This one here, apparently it's 3/4. Actually, I can show you how to find that out because I just found that out right now. So if you go to your pedal system here, since this is a CNC, because you can see it everywhere else, if you open it up, of course I've already shot out some of the fluid. If you look down in there, it says 3/4 on the bottom, so that's what you know what to use. And yet, so a lot of this needs to be rebuilt, that needs to be replaced. So, okay. So now we can get on the rest of this assembly so we kind of know where the brake issue is. So this portion of the video is removing the master cylinder on this CNC Dune Buggy brake pedal assembly because we know there's an issue with it. So first thing I'm going to want to do is get this brake line off, and judging by how the rest of them went on, it's on there pretty tight. I went ahead and already kind of pre-hit it with some PB Blaster, penetrating oil, whatever, for my lines because they're kind of really rusted shut. So just to break it loose, now just wrench it off. Now of course I already bled out the best I could of the fluid from what you just saw, but I'm sure there'll be some residual, which ain't really much. So now it's a matter of getting these two nuts and bolts off, I already kind of went ahead and tried to loosen them. The problem is the size is neither a metric or an SAE. I don't know, I guess that's imperial, would be what's left. But yeah, so basically close I can get that'll work with it is 1/2 inch, but it still has a little play, and 12 millimeter is too tight, and 13 is way too loose. So, and 7/8, well not 7/8, 5/8 is won't even go on it. So 1/2 inch is the best that's going to fit, but it still has a little play, and I'm just worried about like rounding these nuts off because it's on it really tight. So I kind of loosened this one with a pair of adjustable wrenches because they can be whatever size you want. One thing I don't like about adjustable wrenches is they like to back off a bit. So, okay. Now since I got this one loose, I can kind of go for it. Matter of trying to get this one on here. Come on. So I don't like adjustable wrenches. They back off. I mean, I can vice grip it if I want to. And boy, these ones are on there pretty tight, so that doesn't help either. I'm even thinking about replacing these nuts and bolts with metric. I love metric. It's easier to figure it out. You don't have to figure out fractions. You just go, 12 almost fits, but it's a little bit too tight. So maybe it's next one up with 13. But of course, SAE, you're thinking of 16ths, quarters, halves, whatever. You're thinking in fractions. Metric's just easier to figure out. I prefer metric for nuts and bolts, but as far as like length and measurement, I still do feet and inches. I can already tell this bolt is rounding off. Now I'm assuming that the clutch side is built the exact same way, but I'm not having issues with the clutch side. So maybe any of you in the comment section can, who's actually done this, can actually say, hey, it's the same process. Okay, now the bottom one is going to be a tricky one, which is why I have an extension. Go over here. Hope it don't break loose. Well, that's good. To a point. Okay, now I gotta remove it from the pedal, which is nothing more than a cotter pin, a badly rusted cotter pin, I may add. So that we just need, I don't know where my needles went, but let's just use this. Badly rusted. Pull the pin. this back in for now. Okay. Now, even though the nuts are off the damn thing, still gotta free it up. At least that way I can kind of get to that. You know what? Where's that nut? Where's that? There we go. Whenever you gotta tap out a bolt, make sure you put the nut back on the top of the threads, because if you're gonna tap the tip of the nut, you don't want to damage your threads. So it's just, there we go. There we go. Oh, that thing's okay. Well, here's our master cylinder. Wow, it needs new boots and everything. So, take it inside and see what we could do with this thing. So obviously we're not inside tearing apart the master cylinder. Well, kind of because after inspecting it, I don't think there's a real way to actually get inside of it. So I'm going to consider that one toast. Try to find a replacement one for that one online. Apparently that one doesn't exist anymore. I can't find it anywhere. No one has it. It just doesn't exist. So I'm kind of left with a dilemma. I could either go get a cheapy temporary one from AutoZone for like $30 just to have something to monkey with the system for now, and then go and replace it with kind of what I want. And then I could replace just the master cylinder with a good one that I want, but it won't match the clutch side. But the clutch side is fine. I could do that and then wait until next year and find a matching one. But what if that matching one, you can't find that one no more? So I'm left with, okay, just buy them both and just do the whole thing. But then again, price goes up, and you know, things we're trying to do is on a budget at the same time. So I'm kind of left with a dilemma with that for now. So in the meantime, I'm kind of working on a couple things off camera that's not really a big deal. And that is getting these tires off the rims, because I got another set of tires and rims coming, but still no paddles, because I need a little bit wider wheel for paddle tires for the rear, and I need kind of like more like the ball tires for the front narrows for sand, because none of these is going to cut it. And of course, some of these rims need work. There are some bends in it, so it has to be come apart anyways. So, and that's just stuff I'm doing off camera. A lot of them I'm actually taking them off by hand, because there are some other YouTube channels. There's actually plenty of them that tell you how to remove a tire from a rim, and how to break the bead, and how to also put it back on. And there are different methods. You know, some of them work, and some of them, none of them don't work at all. And it's probably dependent on just the wheels that I got, because I've tried all of them. So some of them I have to bite the bullet and have them professionally take them off, but I'm going to try to take off as much as I can. Well, that's just I'm doing off camera. No need to really film that but which kind of leads me to why we're still on brakes, because we still have rims and tires on here. So I was about to take all these ones off camera, and I kind of noticed something with this one right here. That wheel over there seems fine, but this one here should not do this. Now what I'm hoping the issue is because we took the master cylinder off, there's no brake fluid in the lines, and maybe these brakes, the shoes could be so far gone, or they were just already retracted in. that it's just not pressed up against the brake drum and it's loose, but that one is fine. So I don't know. Something could be broken on this one, or it could be like I just said, it's just because we have no fluid. But we're gonna find out, because I have to take the wheel off anyways. At least I know that side's fine, so we can actually match up on like what's different between that and here. Like I said, I'm hoping everything is really just fine, that it's just because we don't have the fluid in there. So we're gonna go take off these rear wheels and see what's up with this one, but we'll start on that one first because we know that one's fine. So let's get going on this thing. So sitting here on the ground, motherfucker, got my impact here. It's basically Mjolnir of impact guns. So it's time to get this tire off. Oh, that one's already loose. I have a feeling in this tire is a tube, just because of this valve stem right here. I don't really like tube tires. There's pros and cons on it. Oh, that's what we have here. It's actually fine for now. No cotter pin, that's kind of alarming. Usually you're supposed to have a cotter pin in there so this thing doesn't accidentally back out on you. I wonder if that's the issue. Well, we'll find out. So, off to the other side. Well, here we go. We're at the loosey-goosey wheel. This one also looks like it could have a tube in it, but we're gonna find out. Good thing these things weren't on there that tight. Yeah, it's kind of all the whole, all the moving with the shape of the lug, so we have to get up for this one. Let's see what it does. Okay. Let's find out what we got here. Let's take this off. Huh? Yep. This is why you have a cotter pin. Look at this. Apparently that's our problem. Some people. Good thing, well, blessing in disguise, really. It has nothing to do with the brake line. Nothing's broken. Just someone just didn't put a damn cotter pin back in. Let that be your lesson. If it had a cotter pin in there, any bolt that see it has one of those things in there, it's there for a reason, to keep it from backing out. This backed out. Well, thank God. All right, so